Parent Academy family. Mary Beth Moore here to talk with you a little bit about oral language today. We were so disappointed that we weren't able to hold our last session, our demonstration night, where you have an opportunity to walk through and practice some of the things that we've been talking to you about with your child. So I'm here today just to kind of give you a little review and reminder of some things that we talked about that could help develop your child's oral language before they start kindergarten. And I want to begin by reminding you that oral language is just verbalized language, and that children who enter kindergarten with strong, fluent, and structured oral language tend to be more successful in the subjects of reading and writing. So it's such an important building block to their school success, and we want to do everything we can to make that foundation as strong as possible. The only way that they can build oral language skills is through interactions with others, especially with adults. So this one falls on us as teachers and adult friends and parents to really take the time to develop this skill in children. The first area that we talked about was using phrases and sentences to communicate needs and thoughts and to describe events. So the big one here is just talk, talk, talk. Talk as much as you can. Talk all the time. You can talk during meal times. You can talk at bedtime. You can talk in the car. You can talk in the grocery store. All of these times are opportunities for you to build your child's oral language skills, and it's super easy. All you have to do is engage with them. It's important when we're talking with children that we want to be a good model. We want to model what good listening looks like, but we also want to model what good oral language sounds like. You want to make sure to keep eye contact with your child. Look at them in the face when they're talking. We want to give them time to process what we've asked and to gather their thoughts before they answer. So in class, we call this lag time. So if I ask a question, I usually count in my head 5 to 6 seconds before I go on. I want to give them an opportunity to come up with an answer along the lines of what I'm looking for. We also want to avoid interrupting. You want to allow them to finish a thought completely. And this helps instill in them, number one, confidence, and number two, that we value what they're saying and that what they're saying is important to us. And we also want to avoid changing topics too often or too quickly. We want them to be able to have a conversation on one topic for an extended period of time. And by not changing the topic, it allows them to really develop their thoughts there. The second area that we talked about was understanding and following multi-step directions. And this kind of fits in with our general development module that we learned about, and it's so important for them to build confidence in this area. We want them to be able to go to school, hear what the teacher asks them to do, and have the confidence to say, I know how to do this. That's where it starts. It's just with having the confidence to say it. So remember, with following directions, you want to always start out very, very simple. This is another one that you can do all throughout the day. An example I can give you is when it's time to go to bed. So you want to start simple, and you may want to just say, go put your pajamas on. Just that one simple direction. And once you confirm that they can go to their room and do that, goes back to some of those general development skills as well, then you want to add another step. Maybe the next night you would say, or a week later you might say, go to your room, put on your pajamas, and then brush your teeth. So then you've really kind of stepped it up and added 3 steps for them to do. Go to their room, put on their pajamas, and brush their teeth. Once they get really good at that, then you might want to add a step in there. After you brush your teeth, make sure you choose a story for us to read for bedtime, and keep developing their ability to be able to listen and follow those directions. Again, this is going to really build their confidence and help them when they go to school. It kind of helps them learn to start processing things and remembering the steps that you need to do something, like reading. Reading, we teach steps and tools for them to use. So it's going to be important for them to be able to retrieve that information to apply it while they're working. The third area that we talked about was using descriptive vocabulary. And this was a big one that we talked about in the grocery store, super easy. Descriptive vocabulary is just what it sounds like. It describes what something looks like. So we want them to be able to use words like big, bigger, and biggest in the appropriate way. So one example that we gave you was while walking through the grocery store, maybe if you find apples, let them choose an apple and then give them the task of trying to find something that's bigger than the apple. And then once you find something that's bigger, maybe you found a cantaloupe, then you can find a third object and look at them and say, now let's discuss which are big, which one's bigger, and which one's the biggest. We want them to be able to look at things and describe what they look like, describe where they are. This is a great time also to use positional words. Going back to that following directions, have them help you when you're in the grocery store. I know we're not taking our kids to the grocery store right now out of safety with the virus, but when life returns to normal and you're in the grocery store with your child, give them tasks to do. Tell them things like, I want you to grab a fruit that is red and sitting in a basket. So then they're going to not only be learning descriptive vocabulary, but they're also going to be following those multi-step directions. So you can combine a lot of these activities into one to sharpen all of these skills. The next area that we talked about was knowing the names of objects, and we want to know their true name. So we always want to use the real name that something goes by. So we said that this was a great opportunity to play I Spy, and we showed you a great video of playing I Spy. Again, just like with the multi-step directions, you want to start out very, very simple. Maybe I spy and give a color, something that is green, and give them an opportunity to find it. Don't give up right away, but when you see that they're having a little bit of trouble, maybe give them a little more of a specific clue. I spy something that's green and something that's sitting on top of the piano. And maybe they're still having trouble with it, so you might add a third clue. I spy something that's green, sitting on top of the piano, and it's in a pink pot. And I bet by that clue they're going to say, the plant. The plant is green, sitting on top of the piano, and it's in a pink pot. So again, you're combining all of those skills. You're developing their oral language. You're talking about descriptive vocabulary because it's in the pot. You're also bringing in multi-step directions there because you're not just giving one clue, you're giving multiple clues. But again, you want to start out simple, give them an opportunity, and then you want to build on it from there. I Spy is something you can play again all throughout the day, no matter where you are. I Spy is a game that works and it's free. The last area that we talked about was asking and answering questions. And this is one of the hardest ones, even as a teacher, because it takes a lot of patience. Sometimes we just don't want to have to talk. We don't want to have to answer questions that we may think are silly, or questions that we've maybe heard over and over and over. But it's so important that we take the time to answer questions and develop their ability to ask questions. So it takes a lot of patience. And we also want to remember when we're asking them questions to ask open-ended questions. We don't want to ask questions that have just a one-word answer, or questions that can be answered with yes or no. So it's important when you're talking with them, try to really develop your questions. And if you ask them a question and they do give you a one-word answer, you can always step in and model again how to develop that answer. So if you ask them, what did you do at school today? And their answer was recess. So you can come back with another question. Well, tell me something you did at recess that you really enjoyed. Or you can give them an answer that would be a little more descriptive. So if you've asked them what they did at school today and their answer was recess, you can come back with, oh wow, recess sounds like fun. I bet you were on the swings outside. And try to, again, remember the only way that they're going to develop these skills is from interactions with you and interactions with others. So we always want to model for them how it should sound and what it should look like. So just as a final little review, I printed out a little review page so that we could kind of go over some things. And I'm just seeing this number 800 and realizing I did not go over the number 800. Remember, 800 is that magic number of how many new words they need to be learning a year. And that's a lot. So it's really going to be something that we need to do every single day as much as we can. Talk, 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 model, model, model. Be patient, 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 and take the time to do it. We talked about multi-step directions, step 1, step 2, and step 3. We talked about asking and answering questions. We talked about using that descriptive vocabulary, words like big, bigger, and biggest, words like small, smaller, smaller, smallest, fast, faster, fastest, hot, hotter, hottest, all those kinds of descriptive vocabulary. Here's a picture of a mom and a daughter talking, and remember, we want to set a good model for what a good listener looks like, and we want to model what good oral language looks like. And then the last one says, show me. And this is just to remind you that you are your child's first teacher, and they are going to develop good oral language skills when you are modeling for them and taking the time to talk with them. Super easy, and it's super free. I hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe, and we hope to see you again soon.